Spencer.
Little porridge.
Porridge? Porridge? Yeah. I had a complaint on my TikTok page. Said that I'm not drinking it right because I don't put enough head on my beer. And I sat down to read it, and they're like, "Oh, you have pour to 45, and between 3/4 of an inch and an inch."
Well,
And he's like, and the person's like, "Well, if it's got to have all the head," and it's like, because there's like, the bar rescue guy, he does a thing, and he like shows a pour, and I'm like, and there's like that much actual solids, and the rest of it's head, and I'm like going, because it's for
if
the
you don't
breathing.
like the amount of head, are you gonna come give me some?
Emotional damage. But what do we got? Let me finish pouring these out. This is Cadence from Reformation Brewery. It's a Belgian style ale. It's 6.9% out of North Georgia. But it's a nice brown color. And then blue water, it was just habit. But then Susie was just straight up, you have to wear But I understand the whole thing of letting the carbonation. But it's like, you don't need, all freaking carbonation.
Have you seen the new, I'm trying to know what they call it. It's,
I have not seen the new Wakanda Forever yet. Sorry,
No,
even though you have. You haven't seen Black Adam either.
I know. I spent like half of my gross GDP for the year on going to see a movie. There's a new thing you can get, and it's I think it's called like a drafter or something like that. But it's a thing you put on top of your can, and you turn it, and it pops the top off of here.
Oh,
so
really?
You can drink, yeah.
To help release the gases?
Yeah, so it's almost, supposedly it's like, it turns your can into like,
You have to look at the price of that and see. Why do you have a... Oh, I figured you become father.
Yes.
What happened to the father? Now it's just waiter, Spencer.
Yeah.
Father Bowman. So you enjoyed Wakanda Forever?
I'm part of Clan McTowell.
McTowell. It's Clan McTowell of the towel heads.
You're about to get wiped, son.
We're from Ireland. Can't you tell by the plaid?
Yeah, saw Wakanda Forever.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I haven't seen it. Was it good?
It was good.
Was it as good as the first?
No.
Really?
No. I saw some people were like, this is a proper sequel. It's better than the first. No, it's not. It's good. There are some things that happen in it. Again, no spoilers. This
is a good beer, by the way.
Yeah, it was. There's some things that happen. You were like, oh, that's kind of cool,
Okay.
But
because I know they introduced Ironheart into it.
Yeah.
And of course Namor, and his
whole. It's not Namor, sir.
It's Namor.
Namor.
Yeah, they've kind of changed the whole origin because now it's from a Mexican Hispanic.
They're the Aztecs.
The Aztecs, yes, which is totally different than the comic book, which is from Atlanta. And I wonder if they're just trying to avoid the whole Aquaman Atlantis DC thing.
So that was what I heard. Whoever came up with the whole changing from Namor to Namor, and then being from Mexico, that was kind of ingenious.
I think Ryan Coogler had a part of that, the director. I think he helped. Because I know he had a hand in writing.
I can't even pronounce the name they call him.
The Klukla.
It's like, but my
enemies call me Namor.
Namor.
So it's good. Is he good in it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the whole controversy right now about the fact that
so much controversy nowadays?
His man package is much larger than what they have in the movie, and that that Kevin Feige and the director came to an agreement.
They had to do digital enhancement.
Yes. They were saying
they couldn't have just given him a different outfit.
They said his package was too intimidating.
You go, dude. You go. That's all I'm saying. When Feige's like, oh no, too much man package.
Feige bot.
Yeah. Kevin. Robot Kevin does not compute.
But it was like there was some parts in there that I was like,
Having some kind of flare. She's like, I need to refill my medication. I'm like,
yeah, there.
You don't want to reveal too much. I understand.
I don't, and I want to talk about stuff in there, but you haven't seen it, so you know.
We'll give it a week or two, and then other people can catch up.
What we'll do is we'll circle back to that in a follow-up meeting.
We'll circle jerk around to that with a reach around.
I'm sorry, Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah, it's the whole Brendan Fraser, man.
I read an article.
I want to say God bless this world for Brendan Fraser,
Yes,
though.
yes.
And a lot of things are coming out that how he has been done wrong. You know, and he made the comment that if he's nominated for a Golden Globe, he will not attend because of you. And you can look up this stuff. I don't want to spread false rumors.
I am scarred by what I read in that article about because the way he described. I mean, I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I don't want to get. But basically, he was at some sort of function. The guy who's the president of the Golden Globes.
Was it Golden Globes or the Foreign Press?
I don't know, but this dude walked up to him. He said, I guess, said hi to him. He did a reach around on him, and
this was like after the second Mummy or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he did a reach around and then wiggled a finger in some places, and then like walked off. And Brendan Fraser was like, I was just kind of. He's like, I was mortified about
Yeah, but this is Hollywood. No, I don't want any.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're into that, that's hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're just sitting there like, hey, and whoa, yeah. You're suddenly Joey Lawrencing the whole whoa.
Yeah.
You know, the consent, please. I mean, we already know in Hollywood a lot of female actresses. Well, the only way in a female. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actresses have dealt with a lot of this. You know, over the years, and to hear that the men have, and it's kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
Because that's not a thing you don't really talk about.
Could you kill it?
Though I am glad that. So this is gonna be like a tough thing because it's like I'm glad that people are finally like being able to
talk about
it,
bring it up.
But at the same time, I also wonder if it's being popularized. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, that happened to me too. You know,
no offense, that happens with everything that comes out. You know,
and I just don't know. Yeah, you don't know.
There are people who are truly have dealt with this, and then people who are that's the unfortunate side effect.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody, he said these 3 words to me. Okay, there's a difference between what he went through and what you went through.
Yeah.
You know. But enjoying the Cadence beer here from Reformation. And we will be back.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever figure it out. Okay. Now this is for Spencer to try. This is some discount brew that my wife had found.
Prison Rodeo.
Sounds sexy, doesn't it?
It does.
By Prairie
Artisan Ales.
Mm-hmm. It's a coffee.
9.5.
Gotta bring the hops to the yard. So Spencer just showed me the previews for Bones and All with Timothy Chalamet. How would you describe that movie?
I like the, so did you see the quote on there? Said, a romance movie meets a horror movie?
Yeah.
That's what I would, yeah. Kind of interesting looking. It's about, I don't know. I almost
would it be like it's not quite a vampire flick.
It reminded. Did you ever see that episode of Supernatural where they went and saw the guy, and he was gonna.
This is like every other episode of Supernatural.
But the guy was turning into a monster, and I can't remember what he was turning into, but he was gonna crave human flesh.
Okay, was it the werewolf thing?
No, it wasn't a werewolf. It was, I don't know, it was something else. But They go see the guy and they're like, listen, you're going to crave this all your life, but the moment you eat the human flesh, like, that's it. You're going to be this for the rest of your life or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, told him basically leave me alone. And then he ends up doing it and they have to put him down. But it almost kind of reminded me of that because it seemed like like she's born. She's like a cannibal, but she's born to like.
They can smell each other.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing. I could smell you.
Yeah.
But he couldn't. That's the weird thing. Is like, he was always like, can you teach me that?
Yeah.
In the previews, but it's kind of different. Like, was he really?
Yeah.
Or like with somebody he was, that's gonna be the interesting. It looks interesting.
Yeah.
So you got the old man, and you got the other people, and they're eaters. I think they call them. You're an eater.
Don't ever, ever, ever eat another eater.
Yeah, don't be an eater. I don't know how to even reconcile that in my head. Don't eat an eater.
So I just hit Simon a few minutes ago with
He hit me.
The news that Jason Momoa might be Lobo in the DCEU. The only way I could see that working is if they do a total reboot
Of Aquaman?
or of the whole DC thing, and they're like...
That would be the sad thing to me, though, is like, you've already got him as Aquaman, and then they fought to get him as Aquaman, because he really doesn't represent what Aquaman physically looks like. I think the Aquaman movie's a fantastic movie. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? And I think he'd make a good Lobo, but it's really like, what are you going to have? Ben Affleck as you know what I'm saying? Are you going to just not retcon, but you're going to use the same 4 actors? And to me, there's a lot of different people who could do Lobo.
Yeah. Here's who like a kind of an interesting one. Hopper from Stranger Things.
David Harbour?
Yeah. He might be an interesting one.
He's already going to be Santa Claus, so why not?
I can't wait to see that movie.
Violent Minds. Hey, I liked him as Hellboy. I thought he was a good Hellboy.
I haven't seen that one yet, so...
I liked him. I mean, the script was a bunch of stories jumbled up, and from what I understand is the director got interfered with a lot by the producers. So it went from a movie that could have been okay to... I don't mind it because so many people take these things so seriously. I was sad that there was no Abe Sapien, and there wasn't the other people, but it covered a different scale of the books too,
Yeah.
Because it had Alice in there instead of Liz as his love interest. Or not even his love interest yet, but that's the one he ends up in the comic books falling in love with. So, but I didn't mind David played a good Hellboy. It's just the story because of the editing, because of the production.
You know what I want to see? Every 6 months, I get drunk and I notice the magnets again. The Big Eye and Rusty. I wouldn't mind seeing like a live action movie adaptation.
There was like a cartoon version, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. That's where I saw it from.
That's from the comic book because I got it because I love the artwork in the comic book.
Yeah, I still remember there was one that really stuck in my head. There was one where they ended up going back in time.
Yeah.
And it was during the Revolutionary War.
See, I did ever see the series.
Yeah, the series was really cool. But they ended up going back in time as Revolutionary War, and they had to stop, again, they were fighting monsters or whatever. They had to stop some monster that was there, but they had to do it in secret so it didn't change history.
Yeah.
And then they found their way back, and before they were coming back, the pilot, a big guy, he was like, I got one thing I gotta go do. And he goes up to this cabin and he knocks on the door and it opens it up and George Washington's in there.
I was gonna say I don't have the magnets on this fridge, I think on the outside, but if you don't know who Rusty and Rusty and the Boy Robot?
Rusty the Boy Robot.
Or Big Guy and the Boy Robot or something, or I don't remember the title.
The cartoon was called Big Guy and Rusty.
Big Guy and Rusty, the Boy Robot.
Yeah.
The artist is Jeff Darrow. It was written by Frank Miller. A lot of people love Frank Miller, but he did not actually draw it. Jeff Darrow did. Jeff Darrow did a series before with Frank Miller called Hard Boiled. And the unique thing about anytime you see Jeff Darrow draw is he paints a picture that's probably about 4 foot by 4 foot. Every panel. Because he put so much little detail into it. So when you buy the comic book, it's not your regular 12 by... It's an oversized comic book. And so it's beautifully rendered, But they can only reduce it so much to keep all the details, all the little things in the background. And that's what I have to dig out and do a video on, because I actually have the toys upstairs.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool to...
But there's a magnet. I used to have them on this fridge, and we moved them together, the beer fridge.
Tom Holland is Rusty.
Can we have other actors?
I know.
I mean, they have so many good actors out there, and they always reuse the same ones, and it gets like, really? Sorry. But, I know David Harbour was talking about that. He was talking about something about Thunderbolts this week. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I saw that he's going to be filming Stranger Things and Thunderbolts at the same time in Atlanta.
That'll be awesome. So that'll be, how many seasons of Stranger Things?
This is season 5, I think, and it's supposed to be the final one.
Okay.
But they've been talking about, like, maybe a spin-off of something else.
I've heard about spin-offs, yeah, because the brothers who do that, they got it because of the ratings and everything for Netflix. Stranger Things, the studio that runs them have gotten contracts to do other things. Oh, excuse me. Damn it. What do you think of the beer? I mean, I'm drinking it by myself. It is like it says a hoppy coffee ale. Can you taste the coffee?
Oh, finally.
I was going to drink anyway.
The one I'm excited for, I don't know if you've watched any of them. So, you've watched any of the Avatar, Lost Airbender? Either one of them?
Oh, no. The only Avatar I've watched is the James Cameron disappointment. I've never got into the actual Avatar series with the elements.
You need to. It's really good.
You know how many things
I know, but, like, it's something you can watch with Zane.
Yeah.
That
He talks like he's watched it. I'm like, when did you watch it?
Abby loves it. That's my daughter.
Is it?
Yes.
She's not an eater?
But Netflix is adapting. So there's the animated series.
I know they're doing something with Avatar.
They did a movie. M. Night Shyamalan did. It's absolute garbage.
That's what I've heard.
But they're supposed to be adapting Avatar: Last Airbender for like a live action on Netflix. But it's supposed to be, I guess they're going to take their time with it because they're going to try and flesh out some more of the story that's in there or whatever, instead of trying to cram like an entire season of a show into like an hour and a half.
Well, that's what is it? Percy Jackson and the Olympians?
Yes.
Disney Plus is redoing that.
Thank God.
Yeah, so they'll have some control over it.
Books were good. The movies were trash. The only good thing that came out of those movies was in the second one they brought Mal from Firefly.
Yeah, I know you're gonna hate me because I've watched Firefly, but I cannot remember crap at my age.
God, what is his name? I hate myself for not remembering it.
Not Tiddick, is it? Alan Tiddick?
No,
not the
captain.
The captain. Oh, God, I can't. People, Firefly's like shooting us right now.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. He was in the second movie and he played I'm trying to remember what god he played. But basically, so in the books, there's this whole thing about like the website Amazon exists, but it's not owned by Jeff Bezos. He's just basically the front man they use for like normal people.
Okay.
It's actually the Amazons.
Oh yeah, the gods, yes.
Yeah. But he plays, I can't remember what god he plays, but
I remember that.
He was like the only good part of that.
Wasn't it? Did you see the new Suicide Squad?
No, I haven't yet. Do you know how many things I have to watch?
You should prioritize, man. James Gunn movies should be up there. But he's in that too. He's TDK. All his limbs can go separate.
Oh.
Attack people.
I'm trying to think of his name. Because have you ever seen Dr. Horrible and the Sing-Along vlog? Yeah.
Yes.
He's Captain Hammer.
Because he's with NPH.
Yeah.
Everyone knows NPH.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be back with more.
Okay, what do we got next, Spence?
We got some of that dragon's milk, that white dragon's milk.
We've had dragon's milk before, haven't we? I think this is the first time we've had the white.
I don't know if I've drank dragon's milk with you before. I bought it one time when I was watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It was like the last one or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You had a big fancy bottle of something. It's on one of our episodes.
How do you get the white milk from the Anyways.
Very carefully. It's like asking how you get the milk out of a bowl.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
But we're watching, on HBO Max, we're watching Chris Redd, who's an SNL member, and I've seen him on the show Kenan. It's his comedy special on HBO Max.
See, when you say Kenan, I've never seen that show.
I'm sorry.
But when you say Kenan, I think of Kenan and Kel.
Yeah. Isn't that Kenan and Kel? No?
Well, there's an actual show called Kenan.
Yeah, I know, that's the one I'm talking about. Is
Oh, no, Kenan and Kel was on Nickelodeon.
Okay.
Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda.
Isn't that Kenan, though, when he was young?
No, there was,
It's a nice golden thing.
golden thing.
It's not white. It's not white.
You gotta stroke the golden thing to get the white.
That's right. The golden shower. That's a bourbon barrel aged white stout. A white stout. It's meaning light. 6%. It's a light stout. If it's a stout, it's so light. It's just like almost like an ale. That's a very confusing.
It tastes it's almost like a cream soda.
My mouth still has the coffee in it, so. It is almost like a cream soda. Very, very light. I like that.
Very, very different than the actual dragon's milk.
From New Holland. So, where were we? I don't even remember.
Damn it.
That's how we were.
I have stuff that I want to bring up, but I can't. Because I don't want to...
because of Wakanda?
Yeah.
Oh, because of the extra stuff?
Huh?
The extra stuff?
There's...
The characters that are in the movie they don't talk about. The after credit stuff.
There's...
Reduce.
Yeah, Reduce. There was Oh, excuse me.
If you ever see anything, any logo from any business that they do not participate in what we do.
Yeah. I do not represent any opinions or anything for any companies or anything.
And to the Jewish community, we stand with you. And we're all against any anti-Semitic things that are said. We also stand with every other community.
Yes. I had this really cool idea, but it's kind of violent.
Okay.
So we just like string up all the politicians all over the world.
String up. Can we just not just fire them? Just like, hey.
No, because they're still there.
See. I heard, my wife told me that you think Dave Chappelle is a Republican.
I did not say he's a Republican.
You thought he was a Trumper.
I said he likes Trump.
But you didn't go back. Did you ever go back and re-listen to that whole clip?
I listened. So the part that I saw, basically what it said was, he was like...
He understood Trump and how people had their affections towards him.
What I saw was, he was like, basically what your wife said, he told the truth.
No, he said he's an honest liar.
I mean, it's all politicians.
But people weren't used to that.
Yeah.
And he called them out. He's like, yeah, I know that because I do that.
Yeah.
But if you go and listen to the entire 15 minutes At the end, he's like, I'm a Democrat and I do not support anything, but I just was kind of confused how people could listen to this crap. But I see that on TikTok a lot. A lot of people take that little sound clip when he talks about Trump. He's like, I can understand people liking Trump.
See, I didn't. So what I saw was when he was like, you know, you watch that first,
The first debate, yeah.
and he was like, he came out there, and he was just like, you know, he was like, he walked out of that house, all with all the other millionaires and billionaires, and was like, everything you think is going on in there
Is going on.
is going on. And then he was like, Hillary was like, he doesn't pay taxes, and he was like, because I'm smart.
Yeah.
And he goes, if you want me to pay my taxes, change the tax code.
Yeah.
He was like,
any millionaire will tell you that too.
He's like, but you won't, because your buddies and your friends all use the same loopholes I use. You
Exactly.
know? I don't know.
I don't think this is the whole thing. I don't think any of the debates were that smooth. I tried to watch them and they were awful. Every debate with him he's just bullies. That's my personal opinion. Is he's a bully. And I'm really sadly disappointed that he has come to try to come back.
I'm not.
And I hope other people stand up and say, we don't want you. My opinion.
My pure opinion. I can't wait for Mr. DeSantis to run.
I hope he will. I hope he will. But that's the thing is, and this isn't the whole thing. I love DeSantis. I'm not going to say I love DeSantis, but I think of the options for the Republican Party. I think at least he's a voice of reason, and people are going to go against it. It's like, come on, look at this. Do you really want Trump to go again? He's a bully. He's going to sit there and say all this crap. Or would you want DeSantis, who isn't a bully? He's a voice of semi-reasonably thing. You know, he's not the greatest person in the world, but what politician is? Because if Trump runs and he wins it, we get Biden-Trump again. It's going to be the same thing. If we get DeSantis, I think Biden will let another Democrat run. I think the whole Democratic Party will be like, okay, let's have somebody else.
Here's my opinion on it. And this is just purely like Republican stance. I know we've gotten away from movies here for a second, but if Trump runs and he wins, my fear is that World War III will take like 5 steps closer to that. Because he's the type of person that if you figuratively bow up against him, he's not going to back down. And I'm not saying that I want a president that's going to back down. But I'd rather have a president that would say, can we talk first? And then if that doesn't work, then we resort to like, all right, cool. You don't want to talk?
Yeah.
You know.
That's the whole thing is being a, and he said that he is a part of that whole club, and people forget that. People, for some reason, it is weird. They think he is the voice for the poor person, for the marginalized, for the middle class. He is the person who is poor. He's never been poor. He has abused any contractors who's worked for him. He's abused them mentally, physically. He hasn't paid his bills. And if you look at that, he's not your voice of reason.
Yeah.
He is a bully. And that has brought in a lot of the worst of people. You see people now who bully online anonymously a lot more than they used to. And that's scary.
If you vote Republican and DeSantis comes up, I would urge you to vote DeSantis for a more stable 4 years of government, if he were to win. Because I think the next 4 years, if we had Trump, is going to be more of like, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. This guy's new, you're fired, you know, and it's just, I don't know.
Well, it's just like Elon Musk with his whole Twitter debacle. People are thinking Elon's lost his mind. I don't think he's lost his mind.
No.
I think this is a whole purpose thing.
So, I know This is gonna bring up some more stuff. I'm sorry, guys. I was watching. It was a clip of Joe Rogan. I haven't watched the whole spiel, but again,
It's all right.
But he had a fair point.
If you want to know my viewpoint on Joe Rogan, past episodes.
But a fair point he had though was he said, okay, so Elon bought Twitter.
Yes.
He then said, you are going to come back to the office. And he goes, there is a video on TikTok, and if you watch it, it's this woman talking about like she worked for Twitter pre-Elon, and it was her like day in the office at Twitter or whatever. And it was like there was no work getting done. It was like, well, I get into the office and I stop by the coffee shop and I get my coffee, and then I go over here for my morning, meditation, and then I go over here and I schedule this meeting pod for my meeting that's coming up, and then I go and I do and it was like, as you're watching it, it was like, when did you have time for work? There was no work. It was like, I went here and got this perk and this perk and this perk, and I think Elon was kind of like, all right, well, none of you do anything, so you're all fired. And then the people now that are quitting en masse, I'm like, okay, so you're quitting en masse, but there's people that don't have jobs right now that can fill those positions, and he's going to be like, okay, well, you can come in and work for me. Here's the rules. You want a paycheck? There it is,
Yeah.
So
That's the whole thing. Is I don't agree wholeheartedly with Elon. I'm not an Elon stan. But the whole thing is, in the social media industry. Now, if you've watched the whole thing behind Facebook and Twitter, I did not know that Twitter employed at one point 7,500 employees. And if you look the base standard of how Twitter is run on, 144 characters, you've got an algorithm that sends it out to certain people. You can't even edit. You can't edit a post after you post it. You're getting paid advertisers from this and I'm like, and it's not like anything is special. That's not in Instagram. It's not in Facebook. And I hate to say this, and I'm not saying, I don't understand how you need 7,500 employees for that.
yeah,
When then I'm not saying they're dumb people or, because there's plenty of smart people who could probably run their own businesses. But like you're saying, when you see that on Facebook and the whole Facebook movie and stuff, you see people who are, for the social media side, who get all these stuff that the basic common person is not getting. We don't get 5 hours in a day to do whatever. We don't get stress, really. We don't get therapy. We don't get... We have to deal with crap every single day. And we have to work. And guess what? If you're caught slacking, you can be fired right there on the spot.
yeah. I work with a lady whose son works for Google.
Okay.
And she was telling me how she went to go visit him, and Google has like an entire compound, like it's a whole city.
Yeah, like Apple.
And it's like you go there and they have housing for people. It's like there's like a downtown area. There's the transportation is paid for. You go in there and it's like you aren't a part of the normal world anymore. Like
it's like a cult almost.
Yeah, you go in there and it's like, okay, well, you go here and you get to like, oh, well, here's your food. It's paid for, because we make so much money, and here's your place that's paid for. And on top of that, we're going to give you a paycheck.
Probably more than me or you make.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I get it. Like, if your company makes enough money and they want to do that,
hey, cool.
Fine.
Yeah.
But I see your point as well. As like, don't act like, your life is tough because a billionaire bought your company out and he's like laying down some rules that you don't like,
Yeah. For a company that is 144 characters.
Yeah.
No editing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, is people forget the problem with America as we have short-term memory.
Yeah.
We forget how hard it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The basic people forget, and now it's like, oh, it's so hard. I couldn't get my coffee today. Like, really?
Yeah.
Of all things? I couldn't afford, it's like, a basic rule from what I see is like to live in California nowadays, to you have to make over $100,000.
Yeah.
And that's a sad state to me. If you have to make 100,000, I watched a TikTok where this guy responded because he was like, "You have to make this much money," and the guy responded. He said, "Me and my family live off me making $8 an hour," and this guy attacked him. He goes, "There's no way you can do it. You cannot support your family off $8 an hour." Obviously, he does. People figure this out. Whether it's the great lifestyle you want, because you're not going to always have the best phone. You're not going to have the latest iPhone. You're not going to have the best electric car.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a Tesla. You're not going to have a brand new house. At some point in our lives, we have to make the decision, this is all I can get.
Yeah.
Now, should we get paid more? I'm not disagreeing that. We should. As any individual, we should. But it shouldn't be a pick or chooses. This guy gets more. This guy gets more. And the problem is if you pay, this is the thing with our society, if you pay people more, then you have to, things are going to cost more.
Yeah.
You know, and like the entertainment, it's not fair that a sports star or a rock star, a music star, not just rock.
Yeah.
It's not fair they get as much as they get. But then you have to look at their lives as somebody who has to practice every single day.
Yeah.
They have to do all this, but they also get their managers, they get their spouse, they got all this ridiculous stuff that a normal person doesn't get. There's always going to be the working class and the upper class.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem is everyone wants to be the upper class. There has to be a middle class, there has to be a lower class, whether we like it or not. But it'd be nice if the upper class would at least register with the lower class and be like, hey, let's help them out.
Yeah. You know what taught me that lesson? This is going to be ridiculous and sound really funny. So I was playing, it was a video game. And it was it's called Tropico. I don't know if you've heard it or not.
I've seen the name.
But it's basically without being Fidel, you're Fidel Castro, you're running, a mock Cuba or whatever. And if you let your society become too educated, you don't have that base that can, run the lower class things that you need to support your society, and they're too educated, they don't want to work. And I was like, you're playing this game and then you get all your citizens become college educated and nobody works in these in your fields to grow food, and nobody works in this, and it's like your society collapses, and it's like
that was always a dream. I mean, I grew up with a poor household. I'm sure you did too. There's a lot of people who grew up in a poor household, or what we viewed as poor. And that was our goal is, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to bust my ass so I can get up a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe my kids can bust their ass so they can get a little higher than me. It's always been the goal. And the problem is the levels are so different.
Oh, yeah. My father used to tell me that. He was like, I'm doing this, and your goal is to be just a little bit better than where I was. And then your child's goal is to be a little bit better. And it's like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because, he was in a situation, he was in the military. I think you said your father was in the military.
My dad
where it was like, in the military, it's like, yeah, you start out bottom rung, but if you do what you're supposed to, you can reach a point where you're getting paid halfway decent, and that's where he got, and it's,
well, that's the whole thing and that's the thing though, is we have our classism, we have our ageism, we have our racism, which holds back other cultures, and there are certain people who are born in a little bit higher, and it sucks that everyone can't be born on the same equal footing, that everyone can start at the same level and work their way up. And we're getting way off subject.
I know we are. Sorry, we drink beer and we get off subject.
Yeah, we get upset. Anyway, Dragons
Good
Milk
beer.
White, brought to you by, what was that show? Game of Thrones.
Actually, I would say this episode of Brew Pill is dedicated to Keith Schultz.
Oh, because he does like Dragon's Milk.